A very pleasant good evening to you as we welcome you inside the Tower Grill on the campus of Arizona Christian University as we continue the Storm Report. This is season number 3, episode number 2. I'm your program host, Kevin Derryberry. On the other side, way down yonder, is my broadcast partner for AC football. That's Edward Cole. He'll be joining us here in just a moment. Action-packed program once again. We're going to keep it football-related. We're going to talk soccer to open up the program. We'll talk with these fine gentlemen to my left. Tiago Soares and Micah Rickard are here today, and we're going to talk a little soccer. We spoke with the coach Kay last week, and I tell you what, we're all excited about what's happening on the pitch here at ACU. So we're going to talk a little soccer here in just a moment. We'll also talk with some women's volleyball head coach Micah Briscoe. Will join us here on the program. We'll talk with Micah on the last segment of the program. Coach Bowen, Jeff Bowen, the ACU football coach, will be here, and we'll talk with JB in our second segment. Without further ado, gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast. Mr. Cole, how are you, sir?
Good evening, sir. How are you, gentlemen? Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How about the action for Teddy K's group? They're getting it down. They're undefeated in this early start to the campaign, setting up the stage for a big one up against Southern Oregon here next up. But, gentlemen, congratulations on the early start and the early success.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that, yeah.
What is it like? And, by the way, both of you guys have teamed up on a couple of goals already this year. But explain the jubilation when you put one in the back of the net. Either one of you.
I mean, yeah, it feels good to contribute to the team's success, definitely. I appreciate Tiago here over assisting me, of course. But, yeah, it just feels good to help make the contribution as far as a goal. So getting a tally in the stat sheet, too, which feels good.
And I would say also, especially against Embry-Riddle, they're such a good team, so a tough game, and we could score and we could team up and come up with that, so that was great.
And it's nice to play good competition, too, just up the road a little bit, but knowing that Embry-Riddle is putting together a solid program, it helps you guys and your team get where you want to go at the end of the season.
100%. So last year we were unsuccessful against them. We lost 4-1, and we just wanted to play them as soon as the game last year finished, because we knew we could beat them, and this year we were able to, so that was great.
Before Ed takes over the show, I've got a question for both of you. What's different about this year's team? Last year, you guys were very, very successful. In fact, you're building on that momentum of last year's campaign when you went 13-5-2. A lot of mojo. Are there things that are different that would separate this club from last year's team?
I don't think entirely different as far as what the team's really trying to get at. But I definitely do believe that we have a very tight-knit group this year. Guys are getting along really well, so that definitely helps contribute to the success on the field. So,
Tiago, it seems like defense is is one of your early identities. You've only given up one goal in 2 games, the one goal to Park. Granted, it's only 2 games, but still, Embry-Riddle and Park University, 2 really good teams, just 1 goal given up. Talk about the defensive aspect of this team so far throughout the first 2 games.
So it's great to concede just a few goals, only 1 goal actually so far. And I share the idea that if you have a good attack, you're going to win games, but if you have a good defense, you're going to win the championship. And we want to keep that like this, do not concede, be close in the back, and just doing a good job over there. I think it's a good recipe for success.
And Micah, for you, how does that defense help you out?
it definitely helps build confidence up to us, being able to lock it down in the back, and we're able to trust these guys, so that helps us to push forward a little bit more because we know that they got it secured back there. So, yeah.
In other sports, they refer to, like in hoops, that the defense will somehow spark and spur the offense. How do you see that happening on the pitch for this year's team?
You can go.
Well, yeah, I believe that once we're able to really lock it down and stay secure back there, it kind of frustrates our opponents, and they start throwing numbers higher, and that really leaves them weak in the back. So we use that to our advantage and try to counterattack and hopefully get a chance on goal and put the ball in the back of the net.
Micah, how does it feel to score a goal? Kevin and I have never done it, so we want to know from a professional. How does it feel, when Tiago gets you the ball and it's your turn, it's your time to kick that ball through the net? How did that feel that night? Yeah,
it felt great. It felt awesome. Yeah, late in the game, so getting really tense situation. But I was happy to find an opening in the back line, and he found me through, and yeah. felt great.
Tiago, you can't score without the helper, though, right? The assist is so critical, though.
Of course it
That's
is.
why we love the team aspect of it.
I mean, Kevin, I'm just assuming that you've never kicked a goal in your life.
Yeah,
I haven't.
You probably are right on that one. But you're speaking of a guy that doesn't allow a lot of goals. You got to have a good netminder. You talk about good defense, but great defense will allow you to perhaps win championships, maybe a GSAC title. But when you look at Carlos Gallardo, your netminder, we mentioned it, Ed mentioned it, just one goal in 180 minutes. It's got to give you a lot of confidence to be able to play in front of him.
Oh, yeah, it does. 100%. He gives us confidence to play our best. Not even like defending, but also getting the ball, moving forward, and trying to find these guys up front. So, yeah, he gives us a lot of confidence. Our center backs, too, it's always great to have someone giving you confidence from behind. So, yeah, it's great.
Give us a couple names, some of your teammates, too.
So we have Yannick, we have Jake, both center backs. We have Yanni stepping in every now and then. We have KG as a right back. So it's always great to have those guys giving us support back there. Also, the center mids, they help us a lot because we have the defense line, you have the center mids playing in front of us. So they also allow me as a left back sometimes to go forward and help the guys up front.
We're visiting with men's soccer players Tiago Soares and Micah Rickard. Micah, one of 4 goal scorers on the year. And, gentlemen, when you start to take a look ahead, you take on Southern Oregon. They're 2-0. You'll play this game Saturday evening at 8 p.m., a little bit late start. Imagine that maybe the heat has something to do with that. But what do you guys know about Southern Oregon? Undefeated team. You do have one common opponent, and that is Embry-Riddle, whom you both beat.
Yeah, I mean, we know a little bit of what they're trying to do, as we've seen in our film that we're watching. But really going into the game, we just want to play our game. We just want to do our job and go out there and, stick together and give it our best. Yeah. I'm
just curious, Tiago, from a defensive perspective, advanced scouting is paramount in so many other sports. Are you able to utilize that tool, and how are you able to do that? Are there coaches that are watching film or perhaps visiting other sites that they're able to help you prepare for your next opponent and opponents beyond?
I don't know how they do the scouting, but it helps a lot. It helps a lot when you have a player in front of you and you have an idea of what he's going to do or how the team as a whole is going to play. Mm-hmm. So that helps, yeah. But at the end of the day, once you step in the field, things might change in 1 second, and you just got to deal with it and learn from the moment,
Sure.
So, Tiago, I guess I can call you an OG because you've been here all 4 years. You started at the club level in your freshman year. You started 6 games in your sophomore year, moved up to 12 games. So you're steadily progressing in your time in this program. What has this program done for you to help you grow as a soccer player and as a man?
It's done a lot. Honestly. I'm glad I came to ACU. I had another scholarship opportunities, but I chose ACU because of the Christian aspect, and I'm glad I did. It helped me grow not only as a soccer player, but as a man as well. And I think that's the most important thing, to be honest.
Micah, follow it up. How's this program helped you grow as a player and as a man yourself?
Yeah, so definitely. I transferred in actually last year, so I haven't been here as long as Tiago, but I've definitely still experienced the same amount of things in that period of time. Definitely growing as a player, but more importantly, growing in my faith and growing as a person. I think that's something Coach Ted does great at this program is he doesn't just work on the soccer side, but he also focuses on who you are as a man of God.
True.
Micah, what's something that you brought from Chino Hills to the desert out here?
Well,
Glendale. Dale.
Yeah, it's a bit different out here.
A little bit.
I love to joke with all the guys that I'm a big supporter of the Ball brothers, basketball NBA players. So
the Balls,
Lonzo Ball,
Lonzo. Okay.
Yeah, big follower of them. I love those.
How about Pops Ball?
Not as much. I think he's definitely an interesting character, but he's an interesting character.
He is.
Yeah.
He's definitely an interesting character. In fact, by the way, I'm still waiting for my initial pair of shoes. I put $500 down, and they haven't shown up yet. But that's nor here nor there. Gentlemen, Coach K, Teddy K. Give us a story. Give us something that we don't know about Coach K? We know he's a man of faith. We know that he is an excellent recruiter. We know he knows the game X's and O's. He's patient, and he's uplifting. He's so many things. But what's something that we don't know about Coach K? Because I remember asking him last week, he doesn't show that he could get his dander up or something that could irritate him or something. Always so calm, cool, and collected, mild-mannered. What are some things you can take away from Coach K?
Yeah, he's definitely a man who knows how to control his emotions.
Pretty good poker player, huh?
Yeah, yeah. He doesn't let his emotions flare up, and I do think one funny thing that we actually introduced this year is kind of the idea that we want to really replicate the idea of being a man of God on the field. So we have a little bell that we take to practice, and anyone that maybe uses a poor choice of language, they have to run over and ring the bell. And I really like that because it's a simple thing, but it definitely gets guys thinking before they actually say something. So
I mean, I don't want you guys to dime anybody out, but have you had to ring the bell? Have you had to ring the bell?
Oh, I did. That was the first one.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
personally, no, not yet.
So on our team, though, on the Firestorm side of things, that's where the bell ringing is, not an opponent, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just us.
Just us,
Just
yeah.
ACU. Okay.
During practice.
So if one of our players uses, a different type of a different
profanity.
choice of vernacular,
Yeah.
then we would go ring the bell.
That's it.
Yeah,
See,
but I
that's
do
it.
think the good thing is the bell has not been rung that often. So
I was just going to ask,
Yeah.
how often has the bell rung in the last, let's say, 3 practices?
maybe not even once
Yeah,
in the last 3
that's what I
practices.
think.
Coach Bowen doesn't like that question. All right, so very good. We'll pass on that then. I just have fun. All right, well, very good. Maybe it's time to take a break and talk with Coach Bowen. It got some intensity about him today.
Well, these guys have they have somewhere to be. They've got
These
business
guys
to take care of.
Have events, and they've got people to see. So we will let them gladly do their thing. And so much, you guys, good luck against Southern Oregon. Start the campaign at 3-0. And it's been our pleasure having you here. Talk a little about the game here at ACU.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate
appreciate
it.
being here.
That is indeed Mr. Micah Rickard and Tiago Soares, the pride of Brazil. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk some football with head coach Jeff Bowen right here on the Storm Report from the Tower Grill. We welcome you back inside the Tower Grill for the Storm Report. I'm Kevin Derryberry alongside Ed Cole. Joining us is the man in the middle, head coach of ACU football, Jeff Bowen, joined us on the broadcast. JB, certainly a tough one Saturday night, final score 37-7. We all know that. It's kind of an interesting setup, right? Where do we want to start with first? Because what we saw wasn't indicative of an ACU football program. It wasn't even indicative of the start or a culture or anything. It was just kind of it was bizarre. But I guess the first question would be, how in the world could you possibly simulate, replicate, practice, or do anything to be more prepared for what we saw Saturday night? Because that was blitzkrieg.
Well, I mean, they did it. There was nothing new. They did it last year too. I mean, it was what they played well, and we were bad in all three phases. So obviously we didn't get them prepared as coaches, and we have to do a better job of that. We have a boatload of new guys, and it was baptism by fire for a lot of those guys, and some responded well, and some didn't respond. So, but we also had some nice silver lining type stuff with some young guys and some new guys in the program that showed that they're going to be a big part of what we do moving forward. So that's exciting, and you build on that. And no one wants to be 0-1, but we've been 0-1 before. So we'll work on things and get them fixed, and we're on to Fort Lewis.
No doubt about it. What were some of those silver linings, Coach, that you referred to?
On the defensive side, Cameron Tibbetts, transfer linebacker, and a freshman linebacker, McDowell did a great job. They're running all over the field. They really played well and exhibited that they can play at a high level. So we're excited about them on defense. I mean, Moses, we know what Moses is. Moses is going to be one of the top defensive linemen in the conference, and nothing we saw deters from that.
He didn't skip a beat, Coach.
No, Jordan Francis played a good game. Griffin Meyer gave up a touchdown early. Just good ball. Receiver made a heck of a play, but then he got an interception later on in the third quarter. So there were a few things on defense you can build on. I mean, after that first quarter, three straight drives, bang, 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 21. Our defense settled in a little bit and made some plays and gave us some chances. But offensively, we were not productive all night, and for a lot of different reasons. And we'll. You can't. You just can't make excuses about it. We didn't play very well. Mm-hmm. The run game was poor. We didn't execute in the passing game. We didn't protect Tyler very well. Hats off to them. They played well. They won the game, and now we move on.
Coach, what's the next step to fixing the offensive line to make them stronger so they can protect Tyler a lot better than they did Saturday?
Well, it shouldn't have to be a fix. That's what was disappointing. We have 6 guys, 6 of our top 7 returning from last year. Those guys played in 11 games last year. They played in the national tournament against the number 1 team in the country, and I expect more from them. We expect more from them, and more importantly than that, they expect more from themselves. I'm sure that they're going to have a really intense, tough week of practice. We're going to get some things going in the right direction with them. They're not happy about it. And I think you'll see a different front 5 when we come out against Fort Lewis.
One of the bright spots offensively, I thought the youngster from Frisco, Texas, Mr. Sibley, playing in a hostile environment. There were certain times where he looked like he was really playing the part, especially as a receiver.
He's going to be something special. We knew that coming in. We were excited to get him out of Texas. AJ played well. Hopefully when we get the offense going, running more than 58 plays, more like when we're up to 80 or so, we expect him to get a lot of touches. And he's a home run hitter. He can go at any time. And so we were excited about him. And Justin Wright is going to be, it's going to be that tough inside runner that just keeps moving the chains. And he did it didn't show in stats, but he did some really good stuff on a Saturday night also. So we'll be fine. And we got other running backs too that can slide in there. But those two, took care of it on Friday night as far as reps were concerned, and we think they'll be special.
One of your positions of strength, really, with some depth. You have Arion Ward back there, so you got a plethora of guys that can make some plays for you.
Yeah, we feel like we have a lot of running backs in the room that can play and contribute, and we'll see who wants to step up and take that role or those roles, because I like to play more than one. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I'd like to get to the point where I got 3 or 4 guys that I can trust back there, and they can do everything. They got to be able to catch the ball. They got to be able to block and protection and no checks and all kinds of stuff like that. So it's not just hand them the ball and let them run. So we'll see who steps forward here in the next 2 weeks. We play in 2 weeks.
Coach, there's more of a cerebral approach for those backs back there. They've got more than just take the ball and run downhill. We have some responsibility for them.
Yeah, we got a few things for them to do. So hopefully they'll. And the running back room has been solid through camp, and they're working real hard, and everybody's trying to find their role in their niche. And you didn't see the full package on Saturday, and hopefully moving forward you'll get to see more of that group.
Impressive on special teams. Martin Fontenot the fourth, coach. He kicked the ball really well. Had a long of 64. Had 3 kicks inside the 20. What'd you see from Martin?
He did a great job. Lepe was handling both kicking duties at the start of the game, and we weren't getting what we wanted in the directional type stuff with the punt game, and so Martin got to come in and he took the job and he owned it. He did a great job, and had a couple times where guys were free and he still got the ball off, and he's a pretty good size punter, so we didn't get a lot of roughing calls because they would hit him and then bounce off of him, and it is what it is. But it was a nice little addition to the special teams department.
Yeah, and Kevin, you and I talked to Martin on the sidelines.
We did.
He's a stocky guy. He's a really well built young man.
Yep.
He is. We had talked about Sean Bailey for just a second. I, joke with Marty that we nicknamed Sean Bailey Hang Time, and that he had his work cut out for him. But Marty, he was impressive. That ball was up there in the night sky for a long time. He flipped the field a couple of times.
Yep.
He did what we needed him to do from a defensive standpoint.
100%.
And, Coach, just as far as the health is concerned, always every game that we play tackle football, guys are going to get beat up and bruised and whatnot. Any big injuries or anything of note?
Nothing that I want to talk about right now.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Well, we're
kind of at a wait and see right now on a couple guys that got nicked up and stuff, and the difference is we got 2 weeks, so we're not jumping the gun on anything. We're able to rest a few guys this week and hopefully get them healthy and be ready to go for Fort Lewis.
And one of those guys that got banged up was Lipe. He did a little bit hip or something like that, right? So maybe that had part of his challenges. And that's why we saw Mr. Fonda. I just saw him getting work on. Coach,
I guess you guys know more than I do. He wasn't on my list.
Oh, very rarely are we on the sideline. So this is one of those games where we have to be right there front and center, which we always enjoy that seat, Coach. It is such a learning experience.
Yes, it is.
Coach Ben Harris, by the way, has some sweet gear on. If we're hitting the hot poker with you on the gear, whatever Benny was wearing Saturday night, I'll take one of those.
There you go.
Ed will take one as well.
Absolutely.
2 X's.
2 X's, both of you?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll see what I can do. I'm sure I can find something for you.
All right. So what was did you guys talk Sunday? Did you talk as a team Monday? I know it's going to be a short conversation. We're going to flush this out and move on. But it was Ottawa. So it was rivalry week. So everyone's still a little bit smoked from the whole thing. But we're approaching Tuesday. So it's past now. It's in the rearview mirror. But what was the conversation like with your football team when you saw them for the first time?
Pretty much what we just talked about here. We had some guys step up. We put on some film and showed some guys making great efforts, but you can't not play the game of football without some fundamentals involved, and alignment, assignment, knowing where to go. All those things come into play, and games are, like we talk to our guys about it all the time. Game plans are great, but football, eventually you're going to get hit in the mouth, and how do you respond? And we had some guys respond at a high level, and we need some other guys to get their game at a higher level.
Mm-hmm. Coach, what's the plan for the rest of the week practice-wise, and then are you going to give the guys the weekend off since it is the bye week, let them rest up?
We're going full go Tuesday, Tuesday through Friday, and they'll have Saturday and Sunday off. But this bye is so early in the season. It's not like a normal, hey, let them rest up kind of thing. We got work to do. We know we got to get better than what we put on the field Saturday night. And I'm not an excuse guy, so it is what it is. I mean, I don't care if you've been with us 1 year or 4 years, or if you're a freshman or a senior. There's a certain level of expectation here. And guys are going to rise to that level, or we'll find somebody that will, and that's part of ACU football and our culture, and that's just what we're going to do. So we're back on the field tomorrow, going to work, and we're going to get some things fixed.
Coach, what was it like for some of your newcomers on that coaching staff? Their first game on the road. How did some of those dynamics play out? Maybe not the results, but just the interaction on the sidelines and interaction with the players, and just some of the new voices there.
It's always a learning thing when you're the new guy on the staff, and we had a couple guys that are new to coaching with us or coaching on the varsity. They did a good job. Marcellus Justin, our new corners coach, and handles the back end. He's an outstanding coach, and he's going to have the guys ready to play. He does an outstanding job, and Hayden back there also. He's working. He's a young coach, very energetic, and I think the two of them work really well together. And I thought our secondary played pretty well. We gave up a couple, but we gave up one big play. But other than that, we did fairly well in that area. And three of the guys out of the secondary made quite a few tackles, which I'd prefer not to happen, but they're in position to make those plays. So they did some good things on the back end.
I'm sure at some point during the conversation, whether you brought the team together, you're not going to say they're going to go down and make an acrobatic catch, a circus catch for the first score of the game. You just can't predict that, but you doff your cap. They made an acrobatic catch, the first one. All you can do is doff your cap and get ready for the next play, and so that's what you guys did. But every now and then, they made a couple good plays.
It happens.
They're a good football team. It's been a good rivalry. Unfortunately, we came up on the short end of the stick with this one, but like I said, it's we got 9 more games to play. It's a long season. We haven't played a league game yet, or anything. So like Bill Belichick says, we're on to Fort Lewis.
On to Fort Lewis. Coach, is there any way? Is there one favorite way to motivate versus another? Like, do you like the underdog role ever, or do you not even consider that nonsense? You just get ready for Fort Lewis, or is there? What can you embrace? Because every year it's like a different message, right? What are we going to rally around this year? Last year you guys did an amazing job. Really, we all kind of, chuckle at certain times when we left Firestorm Field the first game last year, and that feeling that we had, similar to this one, but knowing with so much time and so many games left, that okay, this team, we know it. We mentioned it on a little piece. We're not going to quit. No one's going anywhere. This team will be back. So how do you adjust that, Coach?
Oh, there's no fire sale going on right now. If anyone's been around me or know my teams or my staff or my approach to things, it's we're going to stay level-headed. We're not going to let the highs be too high and the lows be too low. We're going to stay off the roller coaster, and we're going to stay on the merry-go-round. And we're just going to go to work, because that's enter by the narrow gate. So that's the way we approach things. And like it says, do not grow weary in doing good. In due season you will reap if you do not lose heart.
That's right.
So that's all. That's always been my approach. I love my guys. I love my staff and our football team. And we're going to be good. And we're not going to make excuses about, age or year in school or experience and all that other stuff. Those are just excuses. So we're gonna get better, and we're gonna play good football before this year's over. And like I said, we're on to Fort Lewis.
Coach, last thing, was really great to see the fan base. I thought we saw a lot of red shirts over there, even though sometimes the ticket availability is stretched out a little bit. We saw some red shirts in the stands, and it was nice representation even on the field. Good family support there. A lot of alums that were there. It was just good times. So in adverse conditions.
This is our 10th year of football at ACU, and we've come a long way. I mean, it's hard to, you think about where we were and the campus and all like that to where we are now in this campus and the growth of the football program and 2 national tournaments and four conference titles. The foundation is set here to build something special over time, which was the goal. And we're going to continue to work on that. One game is not going to define us, win or lose. So it's what we're going to do over a period of time. And, hopefully by the end of the year, we look back and we say, we've come a long way. That's what we're planning on doing.
A couple of coach of the years in there as well, Jeff, but that's nor here nor there right now at this stage. Jeff Bowen has been our guest here on the Storm Report. We certainly appreciate our time with JB, and we'll look forward to catching up with JB next week as well. We're going to turn our attention indoors just a little bit. We're going to talk a little volleyball. Head coach Micah Briscoe, now in his 7th year, will join the set right after this. You're watching the Storm Report for the 28th day of August. We welcome you back inside the Tower Grill on the campus of Arizona Christian University. It's the Storm Report. I'm Kevin Derryberry. That's Ed Cole. And joining us is the man in the middle, and that's the head coach of the ACU women's volleyball team, Micah Briscoe. Now in year number 7. Micah B., where does the time going all this time? I mean, are we having that much fun, right? Because time flies when we're having fun. But it's year 7 for you. Congratulations on your tenure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been a good ride. We're having lots of fun, that's for sure.
Last year, 10-16, not exactly how you drew it up, but off to a really an impressive start here at the early stages, 4-4 in the early part of the campaign. But the competition that you've played has been stellar, including the number 6 team in the country, Eastern Oregon. To go toe-to-toe with them is a good indicator on where you're at this year with your team.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, last year was tough for us kind of across the board, just with the fact that we were pretty shallow positionally just with the health of our athletes. And so this year to be able to have good depth in all of our positions has made a huge difference. And so, yeah, to be able to come out with Eastern Oregon, take a set off them, take a set off College of St. Mary's, also ranked opponent, was a big deal for us, and something we didn't do last time when we played Jamestown last year, who was number 3 in the nation at that point. We just essentially got wiped. So, yeah, to be able to come out and to compete with a really big, really aggressive team was a great way for us to start, for sure.
And it's, again, it's another way to see where you're at. Just from one year to the next, you're playing stiff competition. Now you're taking sets. And as you mentioned, the competitive fire, no pun intended, from these ladies has been pretty impressive.
Yeah, and again, I think that really goes back to having depth positionally, where we just didn't really have that. And so to really have girls nip at each other's heels, fighting to be that first-string setter, first-string middle, whatever it is, has made a big difference for sure.
Coach, talking about OUAZ, you were over there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You had 4 games over there, took 3 out of the 4 matches. Talk about that OUAZ Invitational and how your girls did.
Yeah, it was a great experience for kind of all of us. I mean, coming from our Montana trip, where we played, again, really stiff competition, to heading into the OUAZ tournament, where, again, we played plenty of really tough competition. The Montana teams are always gritty, big, and aggressive. But we were really able to showcase a lot of our talent, which really, I think, really shined through the most in our ball control and our serving, to really stay in system for most of the time on the court makes a huge difference, and to keep other teams out of system based on just how aggressive we're able to serve. We've got Trinity Whitinger, who's I think she's third or fourth for aces per set, and so that makes a big difference. When you can get 4 aces in a row, and really not have the other team have a chance to even answer back.
That is game altering right there.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coach, where are you seeing your team grow over the first 8 games?
Yeah, so one of the unique parts about where we're at as a team right now is, we have 9 returners coming in, but we've got 10 incoming athletes who are new to our program, and in key positions as well. 2 new setters, 3 new setters once everybody's cleared eligibility-wise. And that's somebody who's touching the ball every play. And so having that setter-hitter connection is something that's really important. And so to be able to build new relationships quickly, they talk about the difference between men and women in sports, and it's like men have to battle to bond and women have to bond to battle. And so if we want to go out there on the court and do well, there has to be some relationships. There has to be some type of depth in our community. And so I think we're still working through a lot of those things, but the good news is that we've got just a phenomenal group of girls who are really buying into our core values, walking out the humility, walking out the authenticity with each other, and that's really kind of that foundation. We're still trying to establish. I think we're doing a really good job so far, but there's a lot more that we got to get to.
Coach, when you speak in terms of communication, it's often relayed as communication is paramount for the success within a match, off the court, on the court, in practice sessions, however it may be. For you to improve upon communication, is it a given? Is it something that just happens through communication, talking about it, or is it seeing the in action on the floor and then watching the ladies communicate that way? How do you instill the mindset to always be talking to one another and getting better at that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely a big part of the sport of volleyball in general, and we kind of refer to it as like narrating the play. My assistant coach uses that language, and I really thought that really summed it up well. Mm-hmm. Because the reality is you can't have, like most sports, you can't have 90% of your team engaged and focused. You need everyone engaged, and some people are functioning at a higher level than others, and so to be able to have multiple people communicating mid-play about what's happening, are they in system, are they out of system, makes a big difference for maybe people who aren't tracking it quite as quickly. So we do utilize our practice time to incorporate drills that really emphasize that. But even beyond that, we try to create off-court opportunities because we're looking for uniformity, we're looking for unity, not uniformity. I don't need everybody to look the same. I'm going to have quiet kids. I'm going to have loud kids. It's about how can we get everybody to a baseline where we're all communicating at the level that meets the needs of everyone, and if some people are more talkative, that's up to them.
Sure. Coach, when it comes to the ladies building that sisterhood and that bond, they've got to do it themselves. You can't do it for them. How often do you kind of step back and let the ladies talk amongst themselves, talking about communication? How often do you just sit back and say, okay, ladies, you figure this out on your own, and if I need to step in, I will? Yeah.
We actually had one of those moments at the Ottawa tournament. So we actually invited in Priscilla Tallman, who's a mental performance coach, and so she came in mid-tournament after we had played our first match and before we had played our second match, and came in, led kind of a Devo / again, just kind of a mental performance kind of workshop, if you will, of just kind of talking to the ladies about, hey, what does it look like when we're getting stuck? What does it look like when it feels like things are working well? And kind of allowing them to engage on that. And after the end of that, I'm like, I felt like they needed a moment to process together and not, have the prying coach's ears always there. And so we stepped out and we gave them time mid-tournament to all right, why don't you guys talk about this? Talk about the things where maybe we feel like we're getting stuck and relationally we're not connecting and we don't have that cohesion. And so we do try to regularly give that opportunity because it is necessary. I like to have my hands on everything, but you just can't.
Coach, are your captains initiating that conversation then in that huddle when the coaches are over here with the whiteboard doing your own conversation? Are the ladies, are their leaders, beginning initiating that conversation and then that talk within the team?
Yeah. I truly say this really joyfully. I feel like we have the best leadership on our team that we've really ever had.
Outstanding.
Caitlin Chan, Krista Peterson, Nicole Lunsford, and Trinity Whiting are all family leaders in our group who essentially oversee just small group devotional style pieces, and they're involved in different, leadership components of what we do. And so they've just done a phenomenal job. I actually just had an individual meeting today with some of our athletes, and one of them said, we've got such strong leadership. And, to hear an athlete tell us that was huge. That's signs of marked improvement.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about this upcoming Labor Day Invitational. You've got 7 games in 2 days, 4 on Saturday. How do you work as far as the ladies you want to cycle in and cycle out during the course of a game? How do you keep the ladies fresh and don't overwork them? Because you've got 7 games in 2 days, you've got a long haul over a course of 48 hours?
Yeah, so thankfully we're not playing 7. We will be playing in 4 of them, and then the other ones will be hosting other matches.
Okay.
So if we played 7, I don't know if we'd make it through the weekend.
Okay, I did look at it wrong.
Okay, yeah, but we definitely have some important matches coming up. Justice College is a brand new college, we've seen them. So we're, again, not to be proud, but we're not expecting it to be a crazy competitive match. So that'll be a good opportunity to work in lots of different lineups and take a look at what we could do. But Park, Benedictine, and Embry-Riddle, specifically Benedictine being our toughest one, receiving votes right now, last match of the weekend. So we're expecting it to be tough, but we also really believe in what we got, even though we're shorthanded just a couple athletes right now.
We are visiting with women's volleyball coach Micah Briscoe on the Storm Report. Coach, in a fan's perspective, if you will, we see the sport of volleyball growing incredibly, just with body counts and numbers and size of schools and programs, and then the athleticism tends to runneth over a little bit as well. What's the style of play that we play at ASU? I've been watching a lot of volleyball the last couple of years, and again, the student athletes it's just incredible how gifted they are right now. In some cases, you might say, okay, there are no trampolines on the floor right now, and these gals are jumping above the net. It's very, very impressive. So much talent there. But what's the style of play? If we were to sell this idea, the vision of fans coming and watching this exciting team, how would you go about it?
Yeah, so I do think that we're kind of in a new season of what we're trying to develop as a program. And it's really a mix. There's a lot of different ways you can run your offense, and some, just go for run it as fast as you possibly can, and just make the defense be chasing you the whole time. And for us, we're really looking to run kind of an average to a little above average with the speed of our tempo, because we're looking for hitter-setter connection. And if we are not creating those hitter-setter connection moments, you're really not going to have any of the energy. And so we're looking for moments where our hitters have opportunities for those big swings, and to create those opportunities. If we're slowing the tempo down, it does mean that they might be challenged by a bigger block or a double block, depending on who's attacking. But we're looking to really play a clean game. We really want to have a ball control game, which I kind of alluded to earlier, which is why we run our DSs in the back row. We can stay in system really for most of the match, because our ball control is just at a really high level. And so that opens up a lot of doors for our setters to be really creative with running different types of routes instead of just everybody just running straight on every time. We're mixing things in and having some athletes run slides and have some athletes run stacks and things like that to create new opportunities. And that's really where I think a lot of the energy and the engagement happens, is when you see one of those perfectly executed plays, kind of like a basketball drawing up an inbound play.
Sure.
And so we try to do a lot of that to really just keep it fun and keep it energetic and look for those big opportunities.
Coach Briscoe, I would think that some of those ladies that's part of that control are Caitlin Chan and Nicole Lunsford.
Yeah, absolutely. So Nicole Lunsford, I mean, she has just really earned her spot on the court as a lib for us. I think she's in our top 6 right now for the conference digs per set. There's really not a lot that she's going to let touch the ground. Really solid serve receive. Again, that keeps us in system and allows us to run a really aggressive offense. And she's just very stable, super stable. She's not a highs and lows athlete, not crazy emotional. She just gets the work done, talks to her front row. And Caitlin Chan, I can't say enough great things about her. She has worked really, really hard. Did not see the court very much at all when she first came here to us, but she has just worked hard. She's coaching on the side, and she's just been dedicated, and not just to the athletic things, but also to the intangibles of making sure that she's leading by example. Our family leaders right now, they're washing jerseys for our athletes. They're taking care with their own blood, sweat, and tears, so to speak, serving their own athletes. And so I just think that she's kind of the epitome of that as well.
Very impressive.
Coach, we were talking about technology, talking about your iPad before we went on. Talk about using that piece of technology and how that how that helps you during the course of a match and over the course of a game, and how you implement that and what you do with your coaching style.
Yeah, and even beyond technology, we implement a lot of different training tools. Just because, you're limited with how many hands. We're not a D1 NCAA where we've just got thousands and thousands of dollars, so we really have to make good use of what we have. So we'll pull out the iPad quite a bit, and we'll do some delayed video where the athletes can go and attack. They can come back and watch, and we can point out and we can slow things down. We got a serving machine that we'll utilize regularly, so we can get lots of high reps in a very short amount of time, and just different types of implements that we'll use to make sure that our athletes are having opportunities to, again, with the iPad, to be able to see themselves, luxuries that people didn't used to have back in the day. But now we can set that video delay on, and they can hit the ball and go watch it. They can go pass the ball and go watch it. And there's something unique about actually seeing yourself do something that can help make something materialize mentally, so that we can make some changes.
Mm-hmm.
Coach
really
Briscoe,
cool.
Our last one before we part ways, when you take a deep breath and you just had a big weekend of volleyball and you're now home with your family, or you're having dinner or doing something, like what's the time like for you? How are you able to enjoy yourself? Are you a TV guy? You go out to dinner kind of guy? Spend time with your family? What is it you do for yourself and your family when you have some kickback time, if you will?
There's not a whole lot of kickback time right now. Normally my kickback time looks like just like staring at the ceiling, laying on my couch. And I've got 4 kids, so I turn into like the hop on pop of the Dr. Seuss books. So I've just got kids jumping all around me and stuff like that. But if I have energy and we have time, we have started to gotten into mountain biking a little bit. So my 2 kids, my 2 oldest and my second youngest, have bikes of their own, and then I've got a little attachment for my mountain bike where my little 2.5-year-old can sit in the middle, and so. And they love it, man. We cruise, and so.
And you need lots of energy for mountain biking.
Oh gosh,
Coach.
yeah. Well, especially when it's 115 outside. So we're not doing a whole ton right now, but we're hoping that as some of the weather cools, maybe we can get out on one of these warm evenings, but not excruciatingly hot evenings, and get some of that in. So we're trying to just cherish the moments and be together, eat meals together, and Yeah, make it count, what we do have.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Kevin, I was going to say the Briscoes are warriors if they're out there in this 120 degree.
Man, I was going to say,
with that.
Let's lay off the bike ride.
Yeah.
At least for another 6 weeks or so. That's been Micah Briscoe, the women's volleyball coach. They're 4-4. More tournament action later this weekend, and we've been delighted to have a conversation with Micah here, learning about his team. Special thank you to other guests tonight. We had head football coach Jeff Bowen join us, as well as soccer players Tiago Soares and Micah Rickard. For Mr. Tim Gosen and for our newest technical producer, Mr. Payne Moses, one quick programming note. We will be off next week, off for the Labor Day weekend festivities, and then we will return 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from tonight. So those of you in higher math that might have picked up on that. For Tim Gosen and Payne Moses and Ed Cole, from Micah Briscoe, I'm Kevin Derryberry. Until next time, so long for now. Thanks for watching.
Good night.